My name is Alexander Specht, and I'm the Associate Economist at the Los Angeles County Economic Development Corporation's Institute for Applied Economics. Today, my colleague Max and I will be discussing a recently released market study commissioned by the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs that maps the sustainable circular economy in California, specifically focusing on the Los Angeles region. Circular economy is the concept of systematically rebuilding the economy to encourage the continued use of scarce natural resources. Core elements of circularity are embedded within each key urban system, including water, housing, infrastructure, waste management, and food. While California has a framework in place to achieve important sustainability goals, individual counties and cities in California, in particular Los Angeles County and the city of Los Angeles, Culver City, Long Beach, and Santa Monica, have much more comprehensive plans in place, which contain well-defined goals, target benchmarks, and proposed actions. These plans will guide circular development in the region and are the source of multiple opportunities for companies that supply circular products and services. Policymakers in the Los Angeles region have actively steered and stimulated circular product market activity by setting specific targets, changing public procurement policy, raising awareness among the public and private businesses, and encouraging innovative pilots. In addition, efforts have been made to steer education and training programs towards sustainable jobs. Circular opportunities in the region include various elements of the smart city approach to sustainability, such as sustainable waste management practices, smart water policies, urban farming, and the use of circular methods and products to construct buildings. An industry-centric approach was used to identify potential opportunities available to and challenges faced by companies interested in investing in the region's circular economy. We identified industries with high circular potential in the Los Angeles region in two ways. First, an industry's circular potential was identified by considering each industry's material and energy usage profile, as well as greenhouse gas and waste creation. Circular potential takes into account both resource consumption and waste creation, as well as how effectively material is recovered and the potential for improvement. Transportation and the energy used in buildings and facilities make up around 70% of Los Angeles County's total greenhouse gas emissions. In the city of Los Angeles, four sources, buildings, industry, transportation, and waste, are responsible for emitting all of the city's greenhouse gases. Because of their significance, these represent important sectors in the circular economy. In addition, industries with high circular potential were identified by looking at the degree of focus that regional sustainability policy initiatives place on different industries. In the case of the Los Angeles region, particular policy initiatives that were used to determine the circular potential of different industries were Los Angeles County Sustainability Plan, as well as sustainability plans put forth by the city of Los Angeles, Culver City, Long Beach, and Santa Monica. Overall, 8 focus industries in the Los Angeles region's circular economy were identified. These include clean and renewable energy, transportation, construction, industry, oil and gas, waste management, food and agriculture, infrastructure and urban development, and finally, water supply and waste. One of our research analysts, Max Dunsker, will now discuss an important selection of these industries and regional goals and plans to steer them in a circular direction.
Thank you, Alexander. Given the diversity of industries within the circular economy and forward-looking initiatives being pursued in California, Los Angeles County, and cities throughout the county, there are many opportunities to grow the circular economy in the coming years. Each focus industry was studied to understand its current landscape in Los Angeles County, both through charts and maps, and analyzed regarding upcoming state and local initiatives, paying close attention to the county's Our County Plan and the City of Los Angeles's LA Green New Deal. Additional information about initiatives in Long Beach, Santa Monica, and Culver City are available in the report on LAEDC's website. Regarding the state of clean and renewable energy in California, Los Angeles County is in the bottom half of California counties regarding energy consumption per capita. However, due to the size of the population, it still consumes more electricity than any other county. In 2019, the largest sources of power for the LADWP The electricity provider for the city of Los Angeles were fossil fuels, with natural gas and coal representing 27 and 21% of the power supply, respectively. That year, renewables made up 34% of the power supply, with solar power providing 12%. The remainder, 17%, was provided by nuclear and large hydroelectric power plants, which LADWP classifies as climate friendly. For the state of California, public utilities must use 100% renewable energy by 2045, with a goal of 60% by 2030. LA County aims to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050, with several strategies to do so, including building decarbonization capacity, community-shared solar facilities, and microgrids for disadvantaged communities. The city of Los Angeles is aligned with the county, seeking to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. Upcoming targets include reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 50% from a 1990 baseline by 2025, and a further 73% reduction by 2035. Beyond the targets outlined in LA's Green New Deal, LADWP has set the goal of supplying 100% renewable energy by 2050, with an upcoming target of 55% by 2025. The map shows the distribution of power plants that employ renewable energy throughout the county of Los Angeles. The color of the bubble represents the type of renewable energy infrastructure at that power plant, whether it uses biogas, conventional hydroelectric, solar, or landfill gas. The size of the bubble represents the contract capacity, ranging from 25 kilowatts to 250 megawatts. Notable clusters of infrastructure appear in several places throughout Los Angeles County. In the Antelope Valley, surrounding the city of Lancaster in the north, there are many power plants that use ground-mounted solar photovoltaic cells. More than half of the power plants within Los Angeles County that use renewable energy are located within this cluster. The largest of these power plants, the Antelope Valley Solar Ranch 1, one of the largest solar projects in the world, with 3.8 million solar panels that produce 241.5 megawatts of electricity. In the Pomona Valley, stretching north and south from the city of Pomona on the county's eastern edge, there are several small hydroelectric power plants, as well as rooftop and ground-mounted solar and biogas plants. Additionally, there are some clusters of solar power plants near freeways, such as the I-5 around Norwalk and Downey, and west of the 710 corridor between Carson and Compton. There's only one power plant that uses renewable energy within the city of Los Angeles, a hydroelectric power plant in Chatsworth, in the northwestern corner of the city. Transportation is another key industry in the circular economy, with a focus on public transportation as a way to reduce emissions for both the city and the county. The map on this slide shows the LA Metro system and how it serves to connect our county. Additionally, there are regional transit systems, such as Santa Monica's Big Blue buses, which provide public transit networks at smaller scales throughout the county, though they are not pictured on the map. For LA Metro, local lines, shown in gray, run throughout the city of LA and adjacent areas, resulting in riders needing to walk only small distances to their nearest bus stop. Additionally, rapid, commuter, and express lines serve many of these same routes, providing a more expedient option for commuters. Furthermore, Los Angeles' rail infrastructure is shown with the bold colored lines, which cut across the region from Santa Monica to Glendale and North Hollywood to Long Beach. Additionally, LA Metro has several ongoing construction efforts to make the rail system more comprehensive, such as the K line to connect the current Crenshaw station to LAX, and extending the Purple D line to Mid-Wilshire, Beverly Hills, Century City, and Westwood. Transportation is an important issue in the circular economy, particularly in Los Angeles, where it made up 42% of greenhouse gas. A large driver is the use of personal automobiles for commuting. In Los Angeles, drivers average 21.9 vehicle miles per day. Additionally, only 11% of commute trips are made by foot, bike, micromobility, or public transit. The increased use of the public transit system and alternative means of transportation will be essential to accomplishing the county and city's transportation initiatives. By 2025, Los Angeles County seeks to increase all trips by foot, bike, micromobility, or public transit by at least 15%, and to reduce average daily VMT per capita to 20 miles. There are intermediate targets for 2035 as well, with the final 2045 targets looking to halve the level of the 2025 level of vehicle miles traveled to 10, and more than triple the percentage of trips by foot, bike, micromobility, or public transit to 50% of trips. The city of Los Angeles has identified zero-emission transportation and goods movement as essential to improving the city's air quality and meeting its climate goals. By 2025, the city wants to have 35% of all trips made by walking, biking, micromobility/matched rides, or public transit, increasing to 50% by 2035 and staying at or above that level by 2050. To do this, the city is looking to expand the bike lane network and reduce the length of travel for riders on buses by 30% by 2028. Additionally, the city wants to reduce vehicle miles traveled per capita by 13% by 2025, 39% by 2035, and 45% by 2050. Outside of public transit initiatives, the city seeks to increase the percentage of electric and zero-emission vehicles in Los Angeles to 25% by 2025, 80% by 2035, and 100% of vehicles by 2050. All LA Metro and LA Department of Transportation buses are also expected to be zero emission by the year 2030. The construction industry in the LA region is the second largest in the US. It's one of the top industries by employment and contribution to the gross county product, and it represents a significant waste stream. As a result, the construction industry is one of the industries with the highest circular potential in the region. Since 2007, with the passage of the California Green Building Standards Code, known as CalGreen, the first of its kind in the United States, California has been mindful to add to its built environment in a sustainable, eco-friendly manner. The code features regulations for new buildings regarding water and material conservation, energy, water, and resource efficiency, and environmental quality. CalRecycle maintains the recycled content construction products catalog, an easy-to-navigate centralized hub for recycled content construction materials, a circular approach to reducing the impact of the construction industry. Buildings are a significant consumer of energy for the county as well, accounting for over 40% of greenhouse gas emissions. So new construction aims to increase the efficiency of buildings while also increasing the use of recycled materials in construction. The county is targeting building energy use intensity. It's to be reduced by 15% by 2025 and 35% by 2050, as well as making sure that 50% of new builds and renovations are net zero carbon by 2025, rising to 100% of major buildings by 2050. The Our County Plan also urges the adoption of an energy and water efficiency ordinance for existing buildings, requiring all privately owned buildings over 20,000 square feet to report their energy and water use and demonstrate a plan for achieving energy and water efficiency. A key part of the City of LA's plan calls for near-term reductions in greenhouse gas emissions from building energy use, which are more aggressive than any other sector, with a 50% reduction by 2025 and 100% by 2035. Since buildings are the city's largest source of climate pollution, this is a necessary step towards carbon neutrality. Though 0% of the county's buildings were net zero carbon in 2019, all new buildings will have to be by 2030, and all buildings in the county will have to be net zero carbon by 2050. The city also seeks to implement greenhouse gas performance standards for material procurements for purchasing by city departments. Initiatives include updating the city's environmentally preferred products purchasing program to include additional construction materials and a greenhouse gas performance standard, and identifying embedded carbon emissions within the city's supply chain. The map shows the density of construction employment, focusing on place of work. It is evident that construction is occurring throughout the county and therefore employing residents across the county. Direct employment in the construction industry also provides indirect and induced economic benefits throughout the county. To keep construction as an economic engine of the county, while also achieving environmental initiatives, will be essential to embrace a circular approach, increasing the use of recycled building materials, reducing greenhouse gas emissions of buildings through renovations, and assuring that all new buildings are future-proof for environmental standards. This map shows the prevalence of oil and gas facilities across the county, with clusters of wells present around Santa Clarita, Beverly Hills, and the Harbor region, as well as the Inglewood oil field and other large oil fields being present. Additionally, it shows the presence of oil refineries, which emit harmful pollutants to surrounding areas. They're located in El Segundo, Torrance, Southgate, Paramount, and Wilmington, as well as a cluster along the 710 corridor north of Long Beach. Heavy industry, including oil and gas, represents a large portion of greenhouse gas emissions in the region. The industrial sector accounts for around a quarter of the city of LA's greenhouse gas emissions and around 10% of LA County. Los Angeles County is the largest urban oil field in the nation, containing around 5,100 active and idle oil wells. The industry remains a driver of the Los Angeles economy, supporting 133,000 jobs and contributing about $32 billion in gross regional product. As of April 2021, the petroleum and coal products manufacturing industry in Los Angeles County employed 5,400 individuals. However, while extraction and refining only make up 20% of the oil and gas life cycle emissions, the total life cycle emissions of the industry are much greater. For example, the life cycle emissions of oil and gas produced in the city of Long Beach in 2015 were 3 times that of the total emissions for the city in that year. The city of LA has taken a lead regarding local initiatives, with targets in place to increase the use of air quality monitoring programs, develop a sunset strategy for oil and gas operations in LA, and improve inspection practices for industrial facilities. The LA Green New Deal seeks to reduce industrial emissions by 38% by 2035 and 82% by 2050. By 2021, the LA Green New Deal sought to create an annual oil well and facilities compliance inspection program. Incentives included improved tracking for flaring emissions and evaluating waste to energy conversion technology pilot projects to replace flares at oil drill sites. Furthermore, the city sought to support the implementation of refinery and heavy-duty industry emissions reduction plans, which include initiatives such as leak detection and repair, and implementing the best available retrofit control technology. In 2022, the LA City Council voted to ban new oil and gas wells and phase out existing ones, changing zoning laws to prohibit drilling and studying how to eliminate existing infrastructure in the coming years. Cal Recycle has not met some of its previous goals with waste management, such as recycling 75% of all waste by 2020. However, it continues to set ambitious targets which shape the waste management sector in the state, currently aiming to reduce organic waste disposal by 75% of the 2014 level by 2025. The county has an ambitious set of goals to accomplish by 2025 as well. It aims to reduce 75% of the organic waste being sent to landfills from the 2014 level, to increase capacity to process organic waste by 20% of the 2014 level, to eliminate 25% of per capita waste generation from the 2017 level, and to divert 80% of its waste from landfills. These goals extend further out to 2045, with the county aiming to reduce 95% of its organic waste being sent to landfills from the 2014 level, to increase capacity for organic waste by 45% compared to that 2014 level, to eliminate 35% of per capita waste generation from the 2017 level, and to divert 95% of its waste from landfills. The county is taking a very circular approach to reducing the amount of waste going to landfills, where methane emissions are a major concern, by focusing on source reduction, or reducing the demand for the production of new goods. The county is also engaging in efforts around recycling and composting, incentivizing the creation of markets for recycled materials and the use of these materials in construction and public art projects. The city's goals are also ambitious, with some aligning with or surpassing county targets. By 2025, diverting 90% of waste from landfills and increasing the proportion of waste going to be reused or repurposed to 25% was a stated goal of LA's Green New Deal. By 2030, it aims to reduce municipal solid waste generation by 15%. By 2035, to increase the landfill diversion rate to 95% and increase the proportion of waste to be reused or repurposed to 50%. And finally, by 2050, to increase the landfill diversion rate to 100% of waste. The maps display how cities in LA County treat their commercial waste stream, a significant contributor to the amount of waste produced by a city. The map on the left, in blue, shows the percentage of commercial waste being recycled. The highest percentages are in the Palos Verdes Peninsula, namely Hidden Hills. Santa Monica, Pasadena, and El Segundo are notable, as they're large cities that recycle more than 10% of their commercial waste stream. The gateway cities, some in the San Gabriel Valley, and those that border the eastern edge of the city of LA recycle a lower percentage of their commercial waste stream. Notably, the commercial hubs of Vernon and the City of Industry recycle even less. only 5.14 and 5.98% of their commercial waste, respectively. The map on the right, in orange, shows the percentage of commercial waste that's disposed of in landfills. Interestingly, many of the same cities that recycled much of their waste stream were unable to divert more than 80% of it from landfills. Those in the Palos Verdes Peninsula, Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, as well as cities in the South Bay, all send more than 80% of their commercial waste to landfills. Meanwhile, the cities that line the city of LA's eastern edge, especially Compton, Southgate, and Bell, are effective at diverting their commercial waste stream. The cities of Vernon and Industry were especially so, with only 45 and 47% of their waste streams being landfilled, respectively. Several different food and agriculture goals are being pursued in the region, with many goals around reducing food waste also dovetailing with waste management efforts. The state is prioritizing source reduction, with efforts for households and businesses to reduce their amount of food waste. However, with the food waste that does occur, there are several initiatives to divert it from landfills. Firstly, food waste would be used to feed people in need. Senate Bill 1318, which focuses on reducing methane emissions from organic waste, will mandate that California must recover 20% of edible food that would otherwise be headed to landfills to feed people in need by 2025. Then, food waste can be used to feed animals, with the California Department of Food and Agriculture creating its Safe Animal Feed Education program to support the state's organic waste diversion efforts. Additionally, CalRecycle hosts its Recycled Content Product Manufacturers Directory, which increases visibility for recycled content products in industrial and agricultural applications. Finally, Assembly Bill 1826 also mandates that most local jurisdictions implement organic waste recycling programs. The county is focused on creating a local, sustainable food system, supporting the fair and sustainable production of food, and improving access to healthy food for all people. To boost local food production, the county is seeking to support the use of public and private land for urban and peri-urban agriculture by identifying public parcels, streamlining permitting, and incentivizing the conversion of vacant property to agricultural use. Local food production removes much of the greenhouse gas emissions from the transportation of food into the Los Angeles market. Additionally, the county pledges to support urban agricultural entrepreneurs in adopting regenerative agricultural practices, such as carbon sequestration, by offering training, technical assistance, and financing, in addition to county policies to support regenerative agriculture through the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs. The county is also pursuing solutions on the demand side, lowering barriers for low-income residents to access fresh, healthy, and affordable food. Increasing consumption of fruits and vegetables among the population will also serve to decrease the amount of organic waste from these sources. One avenue is closing the gap of eligible households that are not registered for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, known locally as CalFresh. In 2017, 31% of eligible families were not enrolled, a number that the county wants to be 0% by 2025. Increasing the use of CalFresh benefits, as well as supplemental food voucher programs like Market Match, to increase the purchasing power of low-income individuals at farmers markets are also a priority, with all farmers markets expected to accept EBT by 2025. The city is also pursuing supply-side and demand-side initiatives. By the end of last year, the city aimed to double the participation in LA's Urban Agriculture Incentive Zone program, to establishing new zoning categories for innovative food production, and encouraging urban farming through the city's compost giveaway and distribution plan, to increase the number of edible gardens in the city's park and public libraries by 50%, to pilot 2 healthy soil projects by exploring incentives for regenerative agriculture, developing a soil strategy that addresses carbon sequestration and water capture, and amplifying community education campaigns, to establish a healthy food cart program, and supporting early stage good food entrepreneurs by expanding opportunity, removing regulatory barriers, providing technical assistance, and developing sidewalk vending permits. And finally, to increase food recovery beyond prepackaged food at LAX. By 2025, the city expects to at least have 120 new urban agricultural sites, with an ultimate goal of adding nearly 250 additional sites by 2035. In that timeframe, the city also seeks to expand access to healthy food for underserved communities with the establishment of 5 good food zones, provide affordable, fresh food, and the enrollment of all eligible families at CalFresh by 2025. In 2035, the city wants all low-income residents to live within half a mile of fresh food, closing a gap of over 400,000 low-income Angelenos when last measured in 2010. The maps focus on the supply side issue, examining the distribution of grocery stores, farmers markets, and farms in the LA region. The map of farmers markets and grocery stores shows a striking density of farmers market on the west side, along the Wilshire corridor, as well as a concentration of stores that sell fresh produce around downtown LA. There aren't too many gaps. However, there are areas where access is scarcer, such as fewer farmers markets in South LA, East LA, and the northern San Fernando Valley. Additionally, areas of East LA and South LA have a lower density of grocery stores than surrounding regions. Regarding farms in the county, there are almost 400 in 2021. They are spread across the county with only a handful of noticeable voids, such as in East LA and towards the west side between the 405 and 110, south of the 10 and north of the 105, and in the South Bay. Clusters of farms also exist, namely in Malibu, Topanga, and the Antelope Valley. While Los Angeles is one of a handful of megacities in the United States and stands on the bastion of sustainability, there are many difficulties in applying urban development techniques over such a large, heterogeneous area. However, steps must be taken to either mitigate or adapt the county's infrastructure to prepare for changes due to a changing climate. The map shows two climatic phenomena. On the right, sea level rise, and on the left, urban heat island index, based on climate trends. Each phenomenon would affect a very different part of the county. Sea level rise is only really a concern in two areas, around Marina del Rey and the harbor region. It is likely that the sea level may rise by 2 feet by the year 2100, given current trends in abating greenhouse gas emissions. However, if emissions remain high over the next 80 years, a sea level rise closer to 10 feet is possible. A 2-foot sea level rise would impact the Bayona wetlands and areas of Playa Vista, as well as eastern Long Beach and parts of San Pedro. Meanwhile, a 10-foot rise would have much more devastating effects, flooding the neighborhood of Venice, as well as significant portions of both Long Beach and the city of LA near the harbor. Urban heat islands are more of an issue for the non-coastal regions of the county, particularly East LA and the San Gabriel and Pomona valleys. While the map shows urban heat islands on a climatic scale, it is important to remember that local factors, such as the amount of trees in a neighborhood, also play a role. So areas of South LA will face worse urban heat island effects than places like Beverly Hills, despite having a similar score on this index. Urban development has many facets and is being addressed through various forms by state and local governments, many of which are overlapping or interconnected. At the state level, urban development efforts are also supported by the California Department of Housing and Community Development. The agency funds projects across the state in a variety of key areas through its Affordable Housing and the Sustainable Community Program, Golden State Acquisition Fund, Multifamily Housing Program, and others, to facilitate the construction of infrastructure and housing across the state. Another state entity active in the sector is the California Strategic Growth Council, supporting the AHSC program and the Transformative Climate Communities program. Through the state of California's Transformative Climate Communities program, neighborhoods in the county, including the Pacoima, Sun Valley, and Watts neighborhoods, have harnessed local knowledge and experience to transform their neighborhoods in a circular manner. To build resilient and healthy community environments where residents thrive throughout the county, Los Angeles County is focusing on tackling pollutant exposure, housing affordability, and community resilience through the following strategies. By 2045, decreasing childhood asthma prevalence to 5% and reducing toxicity-weighted concentrations of admissions in disadvantaged communities by 80%, with intermediate goals of attaining the federal and state annual 2.5 particulate matter standard by 2025 and 8-hour ozone standard by 2035. Also by 2035, the county aims to eliminate on-road diesel particulate matter emissions. By 2045, the county aims to build 585,000 new affordable units and meet 100% of the regional housing needs assessment housing production targets for very low, low, and moderate income housing in unincorporated areas. There are other targets aiming to prevent at-risk affordable housing units from being converted to market rate and to enroll all eligible households in utility discount rate programs by 2035. Additionally, the county aims to train 5,000 people through its Community Emergency Response Training Program by 2025 and 5,000 more for each decade until 2045. Also by 2045, 60% of these trainings should be offered in languages other than English. The county is planning to increase the proximity of residents to transit networks and parks as well, aiming to develop more walkable and connected neighborhoods. By 2025, it aims to build at least 50% of new housing within a half mile of high-frequency transit and attain a walk score of 70 or higher in 25 cities or unincorporated communities, with those goals rising to 75% and 45 cities by 2045. Regarding parks or open spaces, the county aims to increase the percentage of residents living within a half mile of a park or open space from 49% in 2018 to 65% in 2025, 75% in 2035, and 85% in 2045. LA's Green New Deal also has its own ambitious strategies to make Los Angeles a more livable city. In addition to environmental concerns, the homelessness epidemic in Los Angeles must be addressed in its urban development strategy. Despite being only about 40% of the county population, the city of Los Angeles has nearly 2/3 of the county's unhoused population, highlighting the need for new construction within the city to increase housing supply. By 2021, the city sought to build 100,000 new housing units, with 15,000 new units of affordable housing and numbers rising to 275,000 new units and 50,000 income-restricted units by 2035. To combat urban heat effects, the city is investing in increasing tree canopy in the highest need areas, initiating the LA River Ecosystem Restoration Plan, creating a 32-mile fully connected LA Riverway, reducing the urban-rural temperature differential, while making sure that there is no net loss of native biodiversity and ensuring an increased proportion of residents live within a half mile of a park or open space. Over the next 5 years, the city is looking to plant at least 90,000 trees, complete a full tree inventory, create an urban forest management plan, and align city policies to protect public and private trees. To reduce the temperature differential by 1 degree by 2025 and 2 by 2035, the city will be piloting its concept of cool neighborhoods, with 6 areas receiving cool roofs, cool pavements, and urban greening, focusing on high-need areas. Like the county, the city is also setting targets for the percentage of population within a half mile of a park or open space, but with more ambitious goals. By 2025, the percentage should be 65%, rising to 75% by 2035 and achieving 100% of residents by 2050. To do this, the city will add at least 30 parks by 2025, as well as establishing 25 joint-use parks in underserved communities. In the 21st century, water has been a very visible issue for Californians and Angelenos, with the state being in a drought for most of the past 20 years. Longer and more frequent droughts, combined with an increased demand for water, indicates that the industry has a large circular potential. In the coming years, Los Angeles will need to more efficiently use its existing water supply, as well as to diversify its sources of water. The state has taken on an integrated water management approach, which manages water alongside its codependent natural resources, bringing focus and funding to projects that support water resources while restoring ecosystems, which enable reliable water supplies. California passed the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act in 2014, which established a framework for groundwater management. The legislative package began requiring governments and water agencies to halt overdrafts and balance water demand and supply, creating a need for many of the agencies to measure groundwater withdrawals for the first time. While basins of different priority levels and overdraft magnitudes have different timelines, it is estimated that all basins will reach a sustainable level by 2042. Los Angeles County's sustainability plan seeks to create an integrated and resilient water system in the county by investing in water management solutions that diversify and increase reliability of the water supply, increase the percentage of water that is locally sourced, and prioritize natural systems solutions. Additionally, The county wants to ensure that where there is water demand, there is access to safe, clean, and affordable water. In 2017, around 41% of LA County's water supply came from local sources. 9% of this locally sourced water came from local recycled water sources, while 32% was sourced from local groundwater. The Our County plan sets a target that by 2025, 50% of water will be locally sourced, rising to 65% by 2035 and 80% by 2045. To achieve these goals, the county will have to consume less water, as well as find new ways of recapturing and recycling water. By 2025, the county seeks to comply with Clean Water Act permit requirements to achieve water quality standards. Furthermore, the county seeks to support efforts to clean up contaminated aquifers, decreasing the number of LA counties from 7 in 2017 to fewer than 5 by 2025, fewer than 2 by 2035, and 0 by 2045. The Los Angeles County Sustainability Plan sets a target that by 2025, per capita water demand does not exceed 115 gallons per day, dropping that level by 15 gallons over each of the following decades. Additionally, the Our County plan seeks to develop incentives for residential and commercial and small business water conservation and stormwater retrofits, chiefly those that use a watershed approach. Along with the county, the city of LA has become a leader in water conservation and smart water policy. The LA Green New Deal will accelerate the city's water goals, serving to increase water supply and quality. These include recycling all wastewater, fully utilizing groundwater capturing, cleaning stormwater, and continuing the trend of decreasing water demand per capita. Sourcing water locally from, for example, groundwater and recycled water uses less energy and makes the city's water supply more resilient to drought and other shocks. The LA's Green New Deal seeks to source 70% of its water locally, recycle 100% of all wastewater for reuse, and capture 150,000 acre-feet per year of stormwater by 2035. To aid in this, the plan seeks to build a minimum of 10 new multi-benefit stormwater capture projects by 2025, 100 by 2035, and 200 by 2050 to increase local water supply and quality. Like the county, the city is also setting targets for decreasing potable water use per person. The city is aiming for a 22.5% reduction by 2025 and a 25% reduction per person by 2035. The city of LA also seeks to decrease its own municipal water use by at least 25% by 2025 and 30% by 2035. By 2025, the city seeks to recycle 17,000 acre-feet of water at the Donald C. Tillman Reclamation Plant each year, on top of the 1.5 million gallons per day of recycled water at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant that the city wanted to achieve by 2021. Additionally, ambitious projects such as the Metropolitan Water District's Regional Recycled Water Program are being pursued to increase the amount of recycled water that is recharging groundwater basins across the region. The map shows the current state of water sourcing for certain cities in Los Angeles County, with the percentage of recycled water on the left and the percentage of imported water on the right. Data is subject to availability, and as a result, there are some cities with no data. Regarding recycled water, El Segundo and the City of Industry are the only cities with more than 30% of consumed water from recycled sources. Torrance and Cerritos are also above 15%, but all other cities remain below that threshold, indicating that cities will need to invest in increasing their capacity to recycle water, as well as to track their water sources. Regarding the importation of water, there's much progress to be made across the region. While most of the cities in the east of the county are able to avoid importing the majority of their water, the cities of Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, and Los Angeles all imported more than 80% of their water supply. With the aim to source 70% of water locally by 2035, the city of LA will need to embrace circular innovations to reach this ambitious goal. For more detailed information about the circular economy in the Los Angeles region and initiatives being pursued by local governments, you can find the full report and analysis on laedc.org. Additionally, any questions about this video can be directed to info@laedc.org.